Welcome everyone to the Land Use Board meeting for Monday, June 6, 2022. We will start by standing and saluting our flag.
Okay.
Everybody up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by postings on the bulletin board in the entrance hall of the Beach Haven Municipal Building and mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times and the Asbury Park Press. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision for each individual application. Decorum appropriated to judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Roll call, Mrs. Eddles. Mr. Herensky. Mrs. Lenhard.
Yes.
Mr. Muha.
Here.
Mr. Pisano.
Here.
Mr. Stevens.
Here.
Oh, Steve Jim's
Okay.
here. Oh.
Mrs. Baxter. Mr. Meadow. Mrs. Baumiller.
Here.
Mr. Jenna.
He's muted. Jerry.
Here.
Mr. Tinquist.
Here.
Mr. Bobo.
Here.
And Mr. Lafredo. All right.
All right, moving along this evening to new business. Has everybody seen the minutes for the May meeting? All those for approve the meetings, say yay,
Yay.
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 yay, good. Next, the approval of the bills. Can I have a motion to approve the bills?
I make a motion to approve the bills. Second, Jerry.
Right, Mrs. Lenhard.
Yes.
Mr. Muha.
Yes.
Mr. Pisano.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
Mrs. Baumiller.
Yes.
Mr. Jenna.
Yes.
Mr. Tinquist.
Yes.
And Mr. Bobo.
Yes.
Bills approved.
Next on the agenda is application for 500 South Atlantic, the request to return $183.68. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
It pushes just a little this way. Yeah.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, Ms. Lenhard.
Yes.
Mr. Muha.
Yes.
Mr. Pisano.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
Mrs. Baumiller.
Yes.
Mr. Jenna.
Yes.
Mr. Tinquist.
Yes.
And Mr. Bobo.
Yes.
Escrow return request approved.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the three-person review. We had LBI Surf Guru was approved to run a surf school operated from Schooners Wharf, cart number 1. Next in line, we have the resolution 2022-02, the Polizak, 229 11th Street, Unit C. Everybody get a chance to read that? Were there any issues with that resolution? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Oh, Tom's here now too.
Yep.
Second,
Second, Jerry.
Mr. Meadow.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Pisano.
Yes.
Mr. Muha.
Yes.
And Mrs. Lenhard.
yes.
Resolution approved.
Second resolution is 2022-10, the prior sidewalk waiver, 1920 Virginia Avenue, Block 1, Lot 31.02. Did you get a chance to read that? That's down in Webster's, remember? Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second, Jamie.
thank you, Jamie.
All right, Ms. Baumiller.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Pisano.
Yes.
Mr. Muha.
Yes.
Mrs. Lenhard.
Yes,
Mr. Jenna.
Yes.
And Mr. Tinquist.
Yes.
Resolution approved.
all right.
Yes, Gary.
Oh, Gary's there.
Yes.
All right, moving along to this evening, we have application 2022-07, Dock and Claw Clam Bar, 506 Center Street,
Hey,
block
Bonnie,
142, lot 4.
Bonnie, could I
Mr.
interrupt?
Bob?
Could I
Yeah,
interrupt you, sir? We have
sure.
an adjournment request on that second matter we had on our calendar.
Right, you want to do that now rather
Yeah,
than
let's
wait?
do that just in case there's anybody
Okay.
out there on that matter. They can understand it's going to be carried if the board okays it. So
Okay.
on our second matter on our calendar tonight was LBI Beach Condos LLC. Premises is 108, 110 North Bay Avenue, Beach Haven. This was going to be a condo, commercial underneath, two stories of residential above. I got a call today from Richard Vasosky. He's the attorney for the applicant. He told me he was going to be asking for an adjournment, and he sent me a letter. I'll read this into the record, and then the board can vote on it. I represent LBI Beach Condos LLC, who has an application pending for tonight's agenda on June 6, 2022. I've had a conference this morning with the applicants and their professionals. My clients are considering making an architectural design change to the proposed building that will be more conducive to the landscape of the borough of Beach Haven. Although my client is still planning to propose the residential condos on the upper floors and the two commercial retail condos on the ground floor, it is the design of the building that we are looking to modify. Our architect can have the design modification ready in short order to present to the board within the next couple of weeks. It is respectfully requested that the matter be carried without any further notifications to the July 5th, 2022 meeting at 6:00 p.m. in order to have sufficient time to modify the design of the building and to get the revised architectural plans to the board in adequate time before the next meeting. Of course, my client will agree to waive any time requirements to which it may be entitled as a condition of this extension request. That means he's not going to hold us to our feet to the fire because we don't decide it tonight. So he's asking for an adjournment. The board should vote on this until July 5th, 22 at 6:00. If the board.
What did he say about no additional notification? Don't the neighboring properties have to be notified of the new date?
No, as long as it's mentioned tonight, that's sufficient. They don't have to renotice to the public unless there's substantial changes above and beyond a normal modification. If he's completely changing the design, it might be something that warrants new notice. But no, as long as it's mentioned tonight, the new meeting date and time, he does not have to renotice.
Well, Bob, who will decide if there's significant change in his design to require notification?
Well, I got some new information today from a conference I had with some people with the borough. So it may be something significant enough. I need to talk to Mr. Vasosky about renoticing. So that's
Okay.
something, I would say that's something that you have to leave to me and Frank to make that determination as a legal and engineering issue.
Okay.
But for now, he's asking that he not have to renotice as of now. And I'd ask the board to just consider carrying this for the time being so that we can have all the people from the public stand down.
Does the board have any comments on this and carrying it? Do they have any issues with carrying this to July?
No,
No?
I have a question.
Yes, Jamie.
Do you think a month is enough time? Because there was a letter from the Architectural Advisor Committee, but that was based off the previous design. So I don't know if a month time would be appropriate enough to give them time to review the architectural of the new architectural that they were suggesting in the letter.
It's a good question. And actually, they're asking for 1 month as of now. So I guess we could come back in July. If they need to follow up with this and ask for an additional extension, it would be up to the board at that point to determine whether or not to renotice or just say, we'll come back in August, a date certain in August.
Well,
But,
why don't they just come back in August? I mean, why don't we give them plenty of time?
right now, they're only asking for 1 month, but why don't we do it month by month? Right now, they're asking for one. And, if they're not ready to come back, you can do a follow-up letter to us.
My only concern is, Bob, you'll tell everyone that's on this call now that showed up for that meeting that it's going to be in July. But
Right.
what happens if it gets pushed to August? How do we get in touch with all these people?
We would announce that at the next meeting. That's a nice thing about the Zoom feature. They're not driving from, North Jersey, New York, or Pennsylvania to come down to the meeting. So as long as we're still doing it by Zoom, they're considered their home and watch the meeting and listen to it from there. If the board would like to carry it until August, I'd ask to put Lauren on the spot for a date certain on that. I can talk to Mr. Vasosky tomorrow, but one way or another, they're asking us to carry it. So if you want to change it to August, I don't think you mind.
Well, I think it's more realistic in August because like you say, the Architectural Review Committee has to go over it. And I'm sure they're all busy, you know, the people that are on it, and this is their busy time, so. I don't know, that's how I feel about it. How does everybody else feel?
Bonnie?
Bonnie, I had a question. Is HPAC on this
No,
architectural review?
no,
Hmm,
no, because it's not in the historical district, so
hmm.
they don't have to, I mean. Anybody
Okay.
else have any feelings? What do you want, July or August?
I was curious how busy the schedule is for us. Is July pretty booked too? Because this sounds like it could be fairly contentious.
Yeah, but I'm not concerned about how busy we are. I'm concerned about the Architectural Review Committee getting a chance to see and comment on their new design. That's what I'm anxious to know, if that can happen. I mean, Nicole's not, she's on it. She's not here tonight because she's busy working. So it's not gonna get any better. It's only gonna get worse for her in July, so.
Yeah.
I think they should have the opportunity, and Jim Blayhut's on it. He's very busy. So in fairness, if we are concerned, that's why we have this committee to hopefully end up having Beach Haven look like a town, not like city. So that's my point, but what do you want to do? Now, don't be silent.
I'd like,
It sounds,
This is Jim Stevens.
Yes, Jim.
If we don't receive their comments, in my opinion, at least 10 days before the meeting, then there's no way that we will have time to review their letter. So then it'll automatically have to go to August. So it doesn't give them a lot of time.
Right.
well,
And the fact that they gave us all of a couple hours worth of notice today that they suddenly have changes.
True. True. So what do you want to do? August? Who wants-
August.
August.
Thank you.
Again,
All right,
Bonnie,
can
the
I,
only- the
go
only thing
ahead.
is, Lauren, what's the date in August for our meeting? So I can just,
I believe it is August 1st. Yes, August 1st.
okay. So this is a motion to carry this application until August 1st, 2022, 6 o'clock or as soon thereafter as we can be heard. As of now, without any further notice to the public, again, unless there's some huge substantial change to the application. And again, I had a conversation with some people today that might just require a new notice, but I haven't talked to Mr. Vasaki. But for now, it would be a motion to carry to August 1st, 22 without. Okay,
Well, that's another reason, I mean, for architectural review to look at it, because they could establish if it's a considerable change in the plans and
Okay.
require notification, as long as it's done far enough in advance, and 2 months should certainly be enough. Okay, can I have a motion to carry to August 1st, 2022?
Motion, Tom.
Second?
Jim,
Sec-
I'll second.
All right, Jim.
Mr. Meadow,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Pisano,
Yes,
Mr. Muha,
Yes.
Mrs. Lenhart.
Yep.
Mr. Jenna,
Yes.
and Mr. Tinquist.
Yes.
Application carried.
All right, so we'll go back to application 2022-07 Dock and Claw Clam Bar, which is at 506 Center Street. The applicant proposes an outdoor seating area. The proposed seating area consists of 4 picnic tables with umbrellas, 2 high-top tables and benches in the front yard. Additionally, the applicant seeks a variance for off-street parking and lot area. Okay, who's representing this application?
Hi, I'm under Stephen Haggard, but I'm Kevin Ketchel. We are 50-50 business partners. And I'm just on his computer.
All right, all
Okay.
right, begin to your case, say your case.
Let me swear him in.
Okay,
Mr. Ketchel, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
Okay. And just so you know, what I do is I pre-mark exhibits. Normally I have an attorney to explain this to, but your application is just going to be A1. So as you refer to things, just refer to it as A1. Your notices are in order. They're going to be A2. And then Mr. Little sent us 2 different letters. Those will be B1 is his completeness letter. B2 is his site plan and variance letter. So if you want to discuss anything about Mr. Little's letters, just refer to those two different exhibits, okay? The
Yep.
variance site plan is B2.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Just state my case, I guess.
Mhm.
So the previous owners, the Harvey Cedar Shellfish Company, had the outdoor seating in our private driveway. And I would just like to continue that, mostly for the overflow of people in the summertime instead of being in the street or being on the sidewalk, just giving them the opportunity to have 2 or 3 tables in the driveway and some waiting area tables. And also, because COVID is still a major factor for a lot of people, I'd like to have outdoor seating that makes people feel comfortable to sit outside.
Okay. Anything else? I see you mentioned lights, you mentioned music.
So all those were the stipulations to kind of put people at ease, my neighbors and everything. And I've been talking to a lot of neighbors. I was going to say food service will stop at 8:30. I'll have everyone come in at 9:30. The outdoor lighting is just in case people need lighting to eat at that 8:30 to 9:30 window. I don't want any outdoor music of any kind. It's basically straightforward. Like I just want like during the day when there's that rush around dinner time to have an extra spot for people.
Okay, the board is that it? That anything else that you'd like to add about your application?
I guess I'm just more open to the questions of what you guys
Okay.
kind of think about it.
All right. Does anybody on the board have a question for him?
Honey, let me swear Frank in too, as long as we
Oh,
know.
Frank, where is Frank?
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Frank, do you swear or affirm the
There he
testimony you're
is.
about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Okay, he's our engineer. So if you have any questions of him about his letter, feel free to ask Frank. He's under oath now.
Anybody have any questions?
I have
Yeah,
actions.
not you.
You can't, no, you have, the public comes later. This is just board members may
All right,
speak now.
excuse me.
Kevin, did you say that you're gonna have the bike rack in front of where the tables are? So there's kind of it distinguishes the spot where the tables are and the rest.
Yeah, I wanted to have the bike rack for 2 different reasons. My neighbor to the left of us, or to the right of us when you're facing the restaurant, has always had a problem with bikes being on her fence. So I wanted to make a special point of putting a bike rack on the opposite side on our private driveway. And it's been working out really well so far. Everyone's been putting their bikes on the bike rack. She hasn't had a problem with it. And also the bike rack poses as a barrier. So people aren't pulling their cars in when people are sitting in a picnic table in the driveway. It's like a perfect barrier for the people that can sit there.
Any
The
other
drawing that
questions?
was in the plans, actually was a plot plan. I think that's for the wrong address, was it not? It didn't, it seemed, it was one lot in, it should have been 2, right? I was confused when I was looking at it.
I'm confused. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Sorry.
The letter that we received with all of the, of how you were gonna do things with all your drawings on it and where everything was gonna be laid out. One of the survey was actually from the house next door, not your place, if I'm not mistaken.
With the driveway, you mean?
Yes.
The driveway is our private driveway, actually. It just borders our neighbor.
Are you at 506
I'm at 506, yeah.
and lot 4, block 142?
Yes.
I have a
Does it-
question.
See where it
That's
says Pennsylvania Avenue? There's two lots between
Yes,
Pennsylvania Avenue and,
Lauren, slide that down a little bit.
Says Pat Kelly.
The other way, the other,
Oh,
the other way.
Pat Kelly's my
Right there.
landlord, actually.
Yeah, yep.
you know what it is, Tommy? If you see that little broken line at the top on the right-hand side, where right below where it says 80 feet, that broken line indicates that there's more.
oh, okay, I see it now. Yep, I'm sorry. Because I was confused about the flagpole and the public right of way there. looking at where the pins on the property line were versus where the flagpole and the driveway are. I was curious how that, if they were in the public right of way or not, because it kind of looks like they are.
So quick question, how much room is there between that building and the side property line? It's hard to tell. I thought it said 6 foot on this plan, but
As far as the picnic tables in the driveway versus the neighbor's house, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm looking at this survey that's up on the screen and do you know how much distance there is between the side of the building?
5'7" between the picnic table edge to the neighboring house.
Okay,
So like each picnic table that's lined up, there'll be 5'7". And also in my proposal, I want a takeout window on the side door that we have. So that gives people, instead of clustering out front, they can come to the side and they have like a 5'7" clearance to walk around the tables and go to the side window for easy pickup.
Yep.
So people aren't waiting in the street and everything.
Is that on the east or the west side?
The east side. So Frank,
yes.
what's the rule about the takeout window? He can't have a takeout window. Don't you have to be able to go in to take out, or is it after a certain time at night? What's the rule with that?
I think it's after a certain time at night.
It is.
If he's gonna
It is.
close, if he's gonna shut it down at 9:30. I mean,
So
how
that-
late are your hours for the window? I guess that's a question.
Right.
I mean, I'm negotiable with the takeout window. I was just thinking it's a better way to get people from waiting in the street or coming into the,
Right.
like a very small restaurant. But if you guys don't want to take out window, that's not really,
Well, what are your
something I need.
overall hours of operation at night? How late do you open?
we're gonna do weekdays 3 to 9 and then weekends 12 to 9.
Yeah, I don't
So-
think if you're before 10 o'clock, I think you're okay with a takeout window.
Oh, okay.
You
It
don't
was
have to go
really just
inside the building.
yeah, it was really just something for flow, basically.
I have a question. The bike rack, previously when we did outdoor seating, and it's a suggestion, if you put one of those, you do the bike rack and then behind it, you had one of those water-filled barriers that we were required to do for any outdoor seating in the past 2 years. Just in terms of your own insurance and safety, because certainly somebody can plow into a bike rack, but those water-filled barriers, they're inexpensive. And all of us have 1,000 of them sitting around from the last 2 years. That might not be a bad idea.
I would do that. Those orange ones that Barry's and other people have, yeah.
Correct.
I would do that, yeah.
So Frank, what is the deal now when a restaurant is approved for a certain number of seats? Now, are these extra seats coming from inside out, or he's just allowed to have extra seating?
I mean, he's applying for a site plan at this point and requesting what you see on the drawing. So,
He's just requesting more seats,
right.
period. Okay.
I have a few questions.
Sure, Jamie, go ahead.
Mr. Ketchel, how many total seats do you have currently without the outdoor seating?
38 inside.
And then how many are you asking for the outside?
There are 4 top tables and 4 of them, so that would be 16 full service tables. And then the front area would be waiting area just for people who, instead of standing on the sidewalk, have like benches and high tops that they can wait, have their BYOs and wait to be called inside or to the outside tables. So basically 16 for the
So you
outside.
have 38 inside and then 16 outside. So your total would be 54.
Correct, yeah.
So Frank, since we've been in the couple of different applications with aisles, now we're over the limit of 50. So wouldn't the aisle between those picnic tables are 21 inches, not 36?
If they go over 50, they have to be 44.
Correct. And but
You
they're
know,
not,
That's all outside seating though. that
So it
we're
doesn't matter?
talking about. I don't think interior, the fire marshal sets occupancy for interior layout. So
so it doesn't matter for the
I
outside
don't,
seating.
I don't think it
It
carries
does
over
matter
to
for
the outdoor seating.
I thought the fire department was the one that's established 44 inches.
That was the other application we had, but
Right.
that was more outside seating for aisles and things. I mean, this building has to be scrutinized by the building department and the fire marshal for the interior. And then the outside, I don't see an issue with picnic tables in terms of the distance between the tables.
So nobody uses that driveway. It's just, obviously you can't park there because you can't reverse, correct?
Yeah, that's the problem is like you couldn't have that for customer parking because if
Right.
someone parks and then someone parks behind them, they have to come out, and move their cars. So it's really just a loading area.
Mhm.
Which I also will fold up the tables at the end of the night. So Cisco and all our other food services can come in and do their thing. And then at 3 o'clock, we put the tables out.
So the tables are
lives
not
upstairs?
stationary. They're not
Sorry.
set in place. You move them when you need them.
Yeah, they're the plastic picnic tables. I can move them into the backyard like in 5 minutes, all of them, yeah.
Who lives upstairs? It's
So
an
our
apartment,
landlord's
correct?
Pat Kelly with Coral Seas and he uses his for his employees in the summertime.
So there's no parking issues there for the people that live there and need a place to park their vehicles?
I've already like met all them. They're, teenagers who ride bicycles to and from Coral Seas. And I'm building them a bike rack pretty soon in the backyard so they can just park their bikes in the back.
Okay. Any other questions before I open this to the public? Nope. All right, can I have a motion to open this to public comment, please?
Motion, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Second,
Amy, second.
thank you.
Hey,
All right, now, if you'd like to,
Can you
if you're in the
speak?
public and like to speak, raise your hand and you'll be called on. Thank you, Ron.
okay, thank you.
Okay, hold on, Ron. Do me a favor, raise your right hand.
You have to be sworn in, Ron.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
And I need your name and your address, please.
My name is Ronald Gastelio. My home address is 236 Washington Avenue, Rutherford, New Jersey. My Beach Haven address is 505 Angleside Avenue, Beach Haven, Block 142, Lot 16.
Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
All right, you may, go ahead, Ron.
Well, I have some objections. When they first allowed these tables to go outside, they were because of the pandemic and we wanted to keep the businesses existing and profitable. However, not being used for permanent expansion. And they're not accommodating any more parking. In fact, they're taking parking away. I don't know, we've got kids living upstairs now, but for 30 years that I've lived behind them, there was residents upstairs under the old owners. And I spoke to them every day. And I believe they parked on the driveway. Where would they park? Now, he's going to take whatever 1 or 2 spots away and he's going to increase the need for more parking. And parking's become a problem in our area. As all these places expand without accommodating people parking. And so residents that live there, like myself, all summer, when I have guests, there's no place for them to park. It's becoming a crucial situation. But my personal, that's what you people should be concerned with. Mine is that I have to look out my back porch now and see people eating on the driveway. I'd have to hear them talking on the driveway. As people do, they eat, they talk, they're having a party or whatever they're doing. That's going to be constant. I only use my house for 3 months a year to get away from the city, to get away from this. And now it's an encroachment upon me to enlarge his business property, enlarge what his seating capacity. He's in a non-conforming building as it is, but it was all well with me because it was kept indoors. any odor from spent clam shells and mussel shells during the heat of July and August didn't flow into my yard. It was kept inside the building. Now you're putting it outside. Putting 4 tables, he's gonna close up, they're gonna wash them off. Is there any public drainage in that driveway? Where's that going? I don't know, but I'm going, that's coming over into my yard, my backyard. And, you know, there's homes all around them. I don't know how the people next door to them want to see tabletops on the front lawns next to them, but I'm not next to them, I'm behind them. But I don't know why they're not objecting. But we put a large investment in our homes to keep a nice, quiet place. And now they're taking it away from them. They're using the pandemic to enlarge their businesses, and they're encroaching upon our privacy. Those are my objections. I have to put up with constant talking. I got to put up with any odors and smells. I mean, Tucker's just got better now that they went to a different menu. But at one time, I felt like I was eating lunch when they made the bacon and the french fries across the street, but that's right across the street from me. But that lightened up. But like I said, the parking's getting crazy. And now I got to look at these people eating. It was only supposed to be for an emergency purpose. They're supposed to go back indoors. I got no well and fine with me while they were running a restaurant inside. Had tenants upstairs. It was with the old owners, it was passable. I mean, it was non-conforming, but it was passable. It was there before I bought the house 30 years ago. And those are my objections.
Thank you very much, Ron. Is there
You're welcome.
anybody else in the public that would like to raise their hand? Oh, yes, Eileen.
Eileen
Yes,
Bunker,
Eileen?
Eileen Boker?
Yes,
raise your right hand.
right here.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes,
And your name and address, please.
Eileen Boker, and I have a property at 401 Center Street in Beach Haven.
Thank you.
Okay, you can go ahead.
And I agree with the first gentleman that spoke that parking is a problem, but I think that problem is island-wide, not just on Center Street in Beach Haven. I think that problem doesn't necessarily come from the commercial businesses, but that we went from residences that were 1,200, 1,500 square feet, and they're now 3,000 to 5,000 square feet. So more folks come down for the houses. I think the space that they're asking to use, because it is on their property and to the side of their property, and they are doing everything possible to speak with and work with the neighbors to be a commercial friendly neighbor in a residential setting, but was there before the folks that have the homes. It means that they are willing to give and take. And I think the outside seating is a benefit. And although we allowed it initially because COVID came and people needed to eat outside, I think we learned that they love eating outside. And the island has lost restaurants. So within Beach Haven, we lost Fred's Diner. So that was hundreds of seats. We lost Angelina's, Kubel's 2. So literally one of the biggest complaints we get real estate wise is that folks have to wait so long to eat. So to be able to, and he's not asking for a giant increase in his restaurant size. He's looking at 4 tables and he's done by 9 o'clock. I just think it's so reasonable, and I hope the board is able to look at it favorably for them.
Thank you, Eileen. Anybody else? Raise your hand. Wave your hand.
Hello.
Let me see.
No.
Deb Woodcraft?
Yes,
Okay, hold on, Deb. We're
She's up in the top corner, right-hand corner, right next to me.
oh, okay. Deb, right, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Okay, and your name and address?
Deb Whitcraft, 528 Dock Road, Beach Haven.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just wanted to say that I've been in this establishment with the prior owners and with the new owners. And it's really, I mean, it's an icon in Beach Haven. It's a landmark that's been around long before most of these people, including the gentleman who spoke earlier, before he even bought his house. Long Beach Island is a seashore resort. So you have 3 months of tourism and, you know, a greatly increased population. And certainly this gentleman knew when he bought his house that Beach Haven was a very popular seashore resort. And I agree with everything that Eileen said. She operates a phenomenal business there at what used to be the Holiday Snack Bar with outdoor seating. And granted, even though, you know, the COVID pandemic is somewhat less intense than it has been in the last 2 years, outdoor seating has become so popular in the borough of Beach Haven, and its council has recognized that by passing an ordinance allowing outdoor seating. I think what the new owners of Duck and Claw are asking for is so minimal that the land use board, in my opinion, should welcome the new business owners and support their effort to operate a good business as it's been operated for decades. So I just wanted to support this and say that, you know, anything we can do. Most of you know that we operate the Maritime Museum, and we've given this man and his partner, you know, a roll of stickers with the little museum logo on it, so that when we close at 4 o'clock at night, anyone who wishes to patronize his establishment, all they need to do is pull into our driveway off West Avenue and park and walk over to his place. So I think that this is a very beneficial, positive thing for the borough. And I ask that the members of the Land Use Board support his application. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Anybody else? There was somebody else that raised their hand. Yes.
All right, we have,
Ron Costello Jr.
Okay, I got to swear you in, sir.
Okay,
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
And your address also, please.
236 Washington Avenue, Rutherford, New Jersey. And I also reside at the Ingleside address with the backyard directly to Doc's Clam Bar.
So you're with your father's house, or are you in a separate,
Yes, our whole family stays there all 3 months.
same address? Okay, thank you.
This is not.
I just want to bring up the fact that the inside seating is 38 and he's increasing it to 16, an additional 16. That's a 40% increase. And there was no number put on the additional tables he's asking for. So that's a big increase for what's been going on since we've lived there. And the parking, just as my father brought up, is the parking behind and in front of us is just not available. And whenever they're done serving, the employees are going to linger around for another hour. So you could add on another hour to whatever time they're closed to what we have to deal with in the backyard and the driveway. Thank you.
Thank you.
all right, Amanda Burden.
Hi.
Okay, ma'am, I can't see you, so I have
Yes,
to.
you have to put your video on, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not allowing me. I work in a hospital and it's not letting me.
Fine,
right.
as long as she tells me she raised her hand, I'm fine with that. So ma'am, Amanda, just
right.
raise your right hand.
My right hand is raised. Thank you.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes, I do.
I need your address.
My address in Beach Haven is 218 Amber Street.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to agree with what Deb Whitcraft and I think it was Eileen Balker said. And if Eileen owns the Holiday Snack Bar, I think what you've done with your outside seating is really lovely and has really added something very special. I work in healthcare and I would love to say that this pandemic is over. Boy, that would be great for all of us. But it seems to have some staying power, and it especially is concerning for our most vulnerable people who are older, people who have other conditions, people who are ill. And I know how much they really appreciate being able to have outside seating, that they specifically will only go to dinner out if there's outside seating. And I've driven by a couple of times. I haven't been inside your establishment. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry, but I've looked inside and it looks really beautiful. It looks like what you're doing is really nice and will be positive for the environment and for the area. So thank you very much for allowing me to talk.
Thank you, Amanda. Anybody else? Any other hands? I do not see anybody. No one else? Nope. Okay. Can I have a motion to close to the public, please?
Motion to close. Joe?
Thanks, Joe. Second,
Ken,
Second, Tom. Or Ken.
whatever. Somebody. Oh. All right, are there any last comments or concerns about this application before we make a motion?
Frank,
Could I
what's
just address Ron really quick? Sorry.
Who's speaking?
The owner.
No.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin.
I just want to address Ron and let you know that anything you need me to do, I will. Like, I want to make sure you're comfortable. I can put a partition in the driveway so you're not seeing everyone. Everyone's going to be done by like 9:30 in the driveway. I'm doing the shells because I want to like do the recycling program. So we have oysters and clams for the next 10 years. If I need to move the buckets inside at the end of the night, I'm okay doing that. And I just want to work with you, Ron, and make sure you're content and happy. I don't want any hostility or anything like that. So let me know in the future, whenever you need something, I'll give you my phone number and we can figure that out. Sorry, thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? I think Jamie, you wanted to comment.
Frank, what zone is this?
Marine commercial.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Did I answer?
I have a,
Go ahead.
Ron.
You know
again.
what? Wait a minute. Board,
Okay.
if you have a comment or want to ask a question, raise your hand. So, because otherwise everybody talks at once and
Well,
you'll be called on.
Lonnie, we have the member of the public, I think, asking a question. So
But it's been closed to the public.
and that's why I'm explaining to Ron here. So Ron, we're done public portion at this point.
I thought-
Yes, you can only talk during public portion, Ron. I'm sorry.
How about
Um,
Steve?
Ken, go ahead.
I think that this administration, this council has recognized the positive impact to Beach Haven for outdoor seating. The outdoor seating during the pandemic has brought the vibe that was missing to this town. I'd only want to see it increase as long as it's controlled in a positive manner. And as Ron's son mentioned, yeah, 16 divided by 38 is 42%. However, it's a modest increase if you look at the tables and what Mr. Ketchel proposes to do. I would strongly support this, that he gets the outdoor seating, and it certainly seems like he's willing to work with the surrounding people if there are issues and everybody's reasonable. And Debbie said it correct. It's a staple in Beach Haven. It's been here forever. And I'd like to see it continue and prosper.
Thank
I'm
you,
done.
Ken. Anybody else? Raise your hand if you'd like to make a comment.
Bonnie, this is Jim.
Yes.
I don't know how to
Yeah.
raise my hand. I'll have to
Just
figure that out.
put your
next week.
hand up. Put your actual hand up. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Oh, okay, Jim, go ahead.
My question is, are there going to be outside speakers to announce?
No,
So there's no outside speakers beyond the patrons.
No.
The other one is lighting, as
right.
far as the adjacent neighbor. How are they going to shield the neighbor from the lighting that he's planning on putting up?
Well, I have a suggestion for him because I went away on a vacation and they had these and they were great. I came home and bought one for myself. They're about this tall, about 14, 15, and they're battery operated and you just press them on and they light up the tabletop. They're great and they're not offensive to anybody else around you and they give you plenty of light to eat. If I was the next door neighbor, I would not want lights on till 9 o'clock every night, shining in my windows. So the whatever you can do to keep the lighting low, I think would be advantageous. And no music, because I can't
Tabletop
imagine.
lighting.
Yeah, I mean, I like music, I get it, but it's unfortunate you're in a residential area, even though it's called Marine, you've got all these residential homes around you. And to have music playing every night till 9 o'clock is unfair to the neighbors. So, if people want to listen to music, tell them to put in their earbuds or whatever they're called and listen to the music themselves that way. That's how I feel about it.
So we're in agreement that there's no outside speakers. Lighting would be table lighting only.
Right.
Because the real issue is, again, we're expanding a non-conforming use. It's not like this is conforming to start with, but we're expanding it. And I think we need to be careful when we do that. And is there any way, with COVID still active, is there any way that we can give an approval for 2 years and have them come back if everything is going the way everybody says it's going? Can you give them a temporary approval, so to speak? I asked Bob that question.
Yeah, you can put conditions on it, sure. I mean, I don't see a problem with that. You gotta remember that the issue before us tonight is the parking, and that's already an existing situation. And but yeah, you can put a condition on this approval. Absolutely. If you want to put a time frame on it and make them come back and revisit it in a year or two, you can do that. You make that a condition of approval.
Yeah. Tom?
Yeah, that was going to be my concern. Right now, the borough has put out an outside seating ordinance or resolution, and it's temporary. If we grant this tonight, it's going to be permanent. I'm concerned for the neighbors as well. It is a staple in the town, and it's a great little place.
Right.
But this is something that it didn't come with. The neighbors didn't buy the place with people in their driveway. The next door neighbors didn't with an expanded use like that. So I think we have to be careful and think about that.
Yep. Okay, anybody else?
Bonnie,
Joe?
I just don't remember how we left the takeout window on the east side of the building when you're facing it,
He's allowed to have a takeout window as long as he closes by 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Can't have a takeout window after, I don't know what time, 11,
I think it's 10.
10?
It's
Okay,
either 10 or
10.
12.
I know we had that with the Chegg and we had it with Morrison's with the new little restaurant they want to open. We made them come because he wanted to stay open all night. Remember that?
Right.
We said you can't have a takeout window all night. You have to be, anyway, I digress.
Okay, thank you.
Bonnie, let me just take a second. I
Yeah.
believe his testimony was he's going to be open from 3 to 9 weekdays and 12 to 9 on weekends. And correct me if I'm wrong with that. And he's going to shut down outside eating by 9:30. So everybody had to be done and out by that 9:30. So is that the conditions that you agreed to if the board approves this tonight?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No more other comments? Can I have a motion to approve or deny this application?
I make a motion to approve with no stipulations on coming back in a year or so to help support outdoor dining in Beach Haven.
Well, I got a problem with that if the ordinance is only temporary. All right, do I have a second? I don't seem to have a second.
Bonnie, I would second it, but I think that there should be some condition where the applicant has to come back after 2 years.
Well, then that would not be this,
So
that would not be this motion.
so we need another motion.
Well, that or Ken can amend his to just add that 2 years.
No, I'm not going to end it. If nobody wants to support it, then it dies. Somebody else can make another one.
Okay.
Anybody else have a motion to approve with coming back in 2 years?
I
Well,
think. Jim
I'll make a
talking, but
motion to do that. I'm sorry.
Excuse me. All right,
Yeah,
Joe.
I'll make a motion to, yeah, for a conditional approval. Sure, after 2 years, sure. I make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Tom.
Tom?
I don't think Jim knows he's muted. He's talking, but he's muted.
Who?
Jim,
Oh, I'm sorry. I got muted somehow. No wonder why they
Raising his
couldn't hear
hand.
me.
All right, we have a
Um,
motion on the floor, Jim.
We had the motion on the floor and it was seconded. I
Right,
just wanted to make sure that in the area of the outside speakers, table
Right.
lighting is part of that motion.
Right.
correct,
And we're coming back in 24 months
correct,
for recertification, correct?
correct.
Right.
I'm fine.
All right, Mrs. Ballmiller,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Prisano,
Yes.
Mr. Muha,
yes.
Mrs. Lenhart,
Yes,
Mr. Jenna,
Yes.
Mr. Tanquist,
Yes.
Mr. Balbo,
Yes.
Mr. LaFredo.
Yes,
Application approved under discussed conditions.
thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
good luck.
Thank you.
All right, our next application tonight is 2022-11 Polly's Dock, 112 Northwest Avenue. The applicant is proposing to modify a condition in Resolution 2020-05, which includes docking of boats on the north side of the north dock. In addition, the applicant is seeking variances for any other site conditions, variances, or waivers deemed necessary. Kidoki, who's representing this applicant?
Hello, Lady Chairperson. This is Ken Poro representing Margaret and Patrick Demiani, who are here to my right. We're in my law office conference room.
Okay,
It's a straightforward application.
Members of the board, I have a procedural objection before the application begins.
okay,
If I could clarify, just Ken Poro on the application, we are not seeking any variances. That is the protocol that you give in a notice that the board had any variances or waiver. We are not seeking that. In the condition of approval back in May 4th, 2020, which memorialized June 1st, 2020, there was a restriction on the north side of the applicant's property on the dock. Since that time, the change of circumstances has been that the DEP and the Army Corps of Engineer have approved the use of the north side, and therefore there's a material change to that condition. In addition, as the board is aware, there used to be a condition for transient docking, and now there is an encouragement for boat transient docking. They do not require any off-street parking, and the mayor and council came upon that in their studies and finding to encourage the public trust doctrine, to encourage waterway usage, that people coming in on a wave runner or a boat do not need off-street parking. So that ordinance was removed. So our application is very simple. We're basically saying the condition that restricted the north side docking, which was associated with that ordinance that has no longer in effect. We have DEP approval. We have Army Corps approval, which has jurisdiction over the waterway. And therefore, respectfully, we're asking that that condition, that sole condition that's on the June 1st memorialized resolution of May 4th, 2020 be removed. Also, Mr. Little had provided a review of this correspondence. If you look at his correspondence review letter, he looked at the plan that we're talking about. That was February 1st, 2022. It's a marine commercial zone that permits the marina, restaurant, boat rental, bait and tack shop, and transient docking. And if you, this is Polly's Dock, which I'm sure you're all aware of. And the second page of Mr. Little's correspondence says, it is therefore recommended that should the board approve this application, is conditioned upon consideration of the site above and any other condition. But the there are no conditions that we're aware of. And again, my clients are here if the board has any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Went, did you have a comment that you would like to?
I did. Members of the board, good evening. My name is Ray Wentz. I'm a partner with the law firm of Nemad Davis and Goldstein. I'm here tonight on behalf of Blackwell Condominium located at 100 Northwest Avenue. And more importantly, a Dock Road Restaurant Property LLC located at 116 Northwest Avenue. I am here in place of my partner, Keith Davis, who's out of the country, cannot be here this evening, even via Zoom. And first and foremost, we have a jurisdictional objection to the application. The application, at least 3 times, references that the application is requesting removal of this restriction so they can operate, quote, per NJDEP and ACE, which is short for the Army Corps of Engineers approvals. And they say it 3 times. Yet, they do not attach the operative Army Corps of Engineer approval from September of 2021. And they do not attach any approval from the NJDEP. Procedurally, we believe that makes the application fatally defective and challengeable in the Superior Court. Now, mind you, and you may already be aware, this matter is already the subject of litigation at the matter entitled Blackwell Condominium versus Polly's Dock LLC, docket number OCN-C-137-21. There is also an order in place enjoining or prohibiting Polly's Dock from using the north side of the pier. So this is not a simple application in the sense that this is not going to be contested. This area of the waterway is hotly contested. And as such, the application needs to have its T's crossed and its I's dotted, and it does not. I have marked exhibits to explain further why these exhibits should be a part of the application, because quite frankly, we don't know what that means to remove the restriction. What exactly are they seeking to do? And in fact, the Army Corps of Engineer approval that outlines what the Army Corps approved shows what they are limited in doing in that area. And again, should have been part of this application. The objectors, the neighbors who were entitled to notice and fair opportunity to assess the application in advance of it being heard have been denied the opportunity to do so because these items are not included in the application. I can present those documents now. I've marked them as exhibits. There are 3 of them. I have the Army Corps September 2021 approval and plan that should have been included. I also have a letter from the Army Corps of Engineer indicating that in fact there was an issue with the fish cleaning station afterwards, and that the applicant had to go back to Army Corps and submit a plan with respect to the fish cleaning station and fish cleaning station only, which is the plan that for some reason the applicant submitted with its application instead of the September plan, which should have been included, showing exactly what was supposed to happen or what was allowed to happen under Army Corps approval. And I also have the NJDEP approval as well that indicates that their approval is subject to existing local and other governmental approvals, which includes the prohibition of using the North Dock. Again, the applicant didn't include that document, and we're going to get into all of that. However, as a threshold matter, before this board respectfully has any jurisdiction to hear the application, the applicant must submit a complete application. Now, this is not something like a 200-foot list error or a mistake in saying lot and block in the notices that your board professionals could have saw in advance. This is a nuanced issue and a litigated issue, to be sure. So this is not something that the gatekeepers you have would have known about in advance of at least 10 days of this application. This is certainly an appealable issue. I'm asking that the board conduct a vote as to whether or not they have jurisdiction to proceed with the application. I respectfully submit you do not, and that the board, that the applicant either has to reapply, or if I'm not sure what the board's procedure would be on this, to at least supplement and allow this to be heard in July instead of this month. That is my presentation on the issue of jurisdiction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wendt.
May I respond? Ken
Sure.
Porter? Yeah, just quickly. First off, with all due respect to council, the application is very simple before the board. You have a condition in your resolution that says that in fact, I'll read it, any relocation of boat slips or modification of the approved plan improvement, not limited to additional boat slips or dockage, shall require further action by the board. So you have jurisdiction. It also goes on to say the plan submitted herein does not reflect any dockage or boat slip on the north side of the dock. That's what we're here about. The prior resolution of which you retain jurisdiction by way of the dockage said we could not use the north dock. Council has just said, and I would be willing to put as a condition on this, that if the board was to say this condition is we defer the waterway because it's transient docking, exactly what we're saying here, we would put it subject to approval by the court if necessary, but we have to start someplace. And as council said, if the Superior Court is going to get this and say, what does the town board say? That's what we're here for, respectfully, that the condition that was imposed in 2020, which was based on your ordinance that said with transient docking, you needed parking. That ordinance is gone. That is our change of circumstance. And respectfully, again, the council, he's interfering now with our contractual relationship. He's slandering our title because we have clear title, we have approval, and this is waterway. What this board is, I heard the other applications, it's an experienced board. You know that the waterways are controlled by the DEP and the Army Corps. All we're saying is that condition in 2020 is no longer applicable. There's a change of circumstance, and that's all we're here for, to say that that condition in your resolution respectfully a change of circumstance, and the board no longer has jurisdiction out of that because the DEP and the Army Corps have approved it and your ordinance has changed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the board, a lot of that's going to be something we hash out during the case in chief, when and if this is heard. Again, as a procedural matter, the application is woefully deficient and expressly cites two documents that the applicant did not include it with its application to fairly apprise the neighbors of what we're talking about here. This is in fact the subject of litigation. There is a court order in place prohibiting polystock from mooring on the north side. So there's a lot more going on than just a simple change of circumstances. And in fact, the status quo right now is a court order saying they cannot use this area. But again, that's more for the case in chief. I don't believe the board at this point can move forward with the application. I think the applicant needs to supplement. We're talking about two documents, but very, very important documents. Two documents mentioned 3 times in the applicant's application papers. It's like saying we have plans, but don't submit the plans. And in fact, those documents include the Army Corps plan is part of those documents that should have been included. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, board. Any questions for the applicant attorneys?
What's our professional say?
Well, the last thing that I saw on this dock facility from the Army Corps was a letter back in 2021. And I think it just showed some narrow slips along the north side of this dock for jet skis. And I guess at this point, the concern is there an actual letter from the Corps, the DEP, that outlines the dimensions of these additional slips? And there aren't any dimensions on this plan. They're only indicating, and that's all we reviewed, the question of removing a restriction and allowing boats to park on the north side of the dock. But I don't know at this point, how large those boats are. Are they 10 foot across, and are they going to interfere with any of the public slips that are moored in the borough's public docking area? So there are questions here, even if this went ahead tonight, that we need to flush out. Something else that popped up on this was the fact that there's been a pergola installed on the property that, potentially might be interfering with some parking. It's shown on the plan that was submitted, but there was nothing mentioned about it. I know the zoning officer has looked at it. Normally, a pergola on a residential home doesn't require much permitting, but on a commercial property, technically it requires a site plan. So beyond the parking, there is some other issues to flush out that the board has to consider, whether it's tonight or another night.
And I'll chime in here, Bonnie. I think
Okay,
the fact that this matter is tied up in court, I need to know more before I can make a determination whether there is jurisdiction. So I'm inclined to say, even if we started the application tonight, and even if we do have jurisdiction, I don't think we could finish it tonight. So with that being said, until I actually know more about this Army Corps approval or not having approval, as well as a DEP. And I think there's a valid point here. I'm not sure exactly how much jurisdiction we have in the waterway. It's confusing.
this has come up before about this jurisdiction on the waterway, and nobody ever seems to be able to give us an honest answer about whose job it is. And, here we are tied up in this. I mean, I feel like saying, can't we all just get along? I mean, really, this keeps coming back and back and back to us, and we don't have any answers.
Well,
We never get answers.
the jurisdiction is relevant to the parking on land. And that's what the ordinance was changed right after this resolution was done. And they took away the section that said you had to have one parking place for the boat slips. That's relevant to us as a board. These other things that he's asking us to do, I don't know that we actually have jurisdiction. If Army Corps and DEP have jurisdiction, I don't know why we would have jurisdiction. The pergola issue is a whole nother matter, though. And when Frank brought that up, if the pergola was constructed without permits, we shouldn't even be talking about that tonight because that's not noticed. And we don't have any information on that. So
Right.
for that matter alone, this thing should be carried, frankly. And I did speak with both counsel, and I told them I would kind of flesh this out as it goes. There was a request for an adjournment, and Mr. Went is doing a fine job, but so that Mr. Davis could come back. He's on vacation, and the applicant wanted to go forward with it. But I still think I can't give you an informed decision based on what I don't know. And that's a simple answer. If there's Army Corps review letters, if there's DEP review letters, and if there's a court order, I can't give you any advice because that all supersedes anything we do. And I haven't seen any of it.
Lady Chairperson, Ken Poro again. Based upon the questions, I know we can address them. We do have a March 29th, 2022 Army Corps of Engineer letter and a March 31st, 2022 DEP letter. We will get that to the board. We'll get that to the parties. Well, we think we already had submitted it. Margaret's here. She thought she had submitted it. And we'll also address the pergola issue if in fact anything is required there and flush it out. So if we can carry this to the July meeting, will we be
Into the
first in July?
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that sounds like a given because you can't make any decisions tonight if you don't have the information. So,
Mr. Poro, you're asking us to carry it and you're waiving any timeframes. Again, I'm not sure about the jurisdictional issue, other than if there's information that might be missing, especially the court matter. I got to know more about the court matter.
And I will cross the
Anything we
Ts and
do.
I'll cross the Ts and dot the Is on that. I am renewing that with all due respect to Mr. Burgess and his attorneys. They are slandering our title. They are interfering with our contractual relationship, but we will give the information to the board as to the Army Corps and the DEP, and we'll take a look at that pergola issue. So if we can carry the matter to your July meeting without new notice, I appreciate it.
okay. Can I have a motion to carry application 2022-11 Polydoc to the July, what is it, what?
July 5th.
July 5th meeting?
Motion to carry till July.
Jerry, and second, Tom? Did you?
Yes.
Yeah, Tom.
Okay,
All right.
and so
Mr.
this is
Meadows?
without further notice, and everybody in the public understands there won't be a further notice on this unless there is a serious jurisdictional problem.
Right.
In case the board doesn't have jurisdiction to hear it tonight. So I can't make that determination now. So I'll work with both counsel for the applicant and the objector on that. But for now, it's a motion to carry it without notice to July 5th at 6 o'clock.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Mr. Meadow,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballmiller,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Prisano,
Yes.
Mr. Muha,
Yes.
Mrs. Lenhard,
Yes.
Mr. Jenna,
Yes.
Mr. Tankquist,
Yes.
and Mr. Bobo.
Yes.
Application carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, just real
Thanks,
quick,
board.
will that be in person at all? Will that still be in Zoom?
That'll
It'll be Zoom.
Okay, thank you. You will.
Thank you.
Thank you, both counsel. So just do me a favor, we'll all talk if we can, maybe tomorrow, and get me up to speed on everything. There's a very confusing issue and there's a lot of information, so I gotta get more information before I can give the board more advice. So,
Very good.
okay, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, unless anybody has any further comments, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion
Can we
to
stay
adjourn.
longer?
Sure you can, hang out.
Wanna hang
See
out
you
on
next
Zoom?
month. Might be the only one on
One
here.
quick question. Do we know when we're gonna be able to be in person again? Do we have any time frame? I think there's a lot of subtleties that we don't pick up via Zoom that I just think we need to be in person. I mean, you can be in Zoom if you want, but I would like to be in person.
I don't think half of these people that are on here would come down to Borough Hall.
Well,
mean,
couldn't,
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we could come during the summer, but you know, I don't know. I'm happy with Zoom, so you guys have to get together, and if you want to come in person, I'm here tonight. I'm at Borough Hall tonight, so the rest of you are home in your homes.
is
So,
the plan to do Zoom forever? Is that what we want to do?
well, I don't have a problem with it, but if, you know, I don't know. It's your personal opinion. I mean, Jim wouldn't be here tonight. He's in, I thought you were in Kodiak Island. Are you at, you got, where are
No,
you?
we're off. Well, we're in Alaska.
Yeah, he's in Alaska. I mean, you know, people have busy lives and I'm more important in getting people on and involved. And I just don't think if it wasn't for Zoom, I don't think you get half these people coming down to Borough Hall. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe we should ask the public if they want to come down and all sit together in a room, but then they're not going to because they're going to be scared to death. They're going to get COVID, I guess. I don't know. I can do whatever you want. Let me know.
Next
Send
will
me
be
an email.
monkeypox.
Yeah, send me a text. Whatever. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second, Tom.
Tom. Good night, all.
All right, good
All
night.
right.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have a good night.
Right,
Good night.
right.